Okay. Are we good?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. All right. Today we spend the entire day at an internally displaced persons camp, is what it's called. IDP for short. Basically, what it is it was a village that was formed because the tribe that had the last couple of presidents was getting singled out during the last elections. People didn't want them voting because they didn't want another person from that tribe to become president. So much so that they drove them out and murdered them in the streets while that happened. And they were on the coast, so they moved inland about 400 miles of the Great Rift Valley. And they ended up where we ended up visiting them. We started out at Southern Cross, which was a school for children. We handed out sweets to them, all the classes initially, and then we got songs from them, which was pretty cool. They all sang like songs they had practiced for such occasions, and we handed out suckers to them. And then the leader of the IDP camp, a guy named Joseph, gave us a very long history of what was going on.
Yep, so starting out the day, went down to the IDP camp. The drive was a lot of fun.
Oh yeah.
That was crazy.
I hit my head so many times.
Yeah.
My knees hurt after it.
That was fun. And then we ended up at the IDP camp. The kids were really happy to see us at the very beginning. And
Why'd you stop talking?
So we got out some candy when that was a bad idea. It was a very bad idea.
Was that the rant?
Yeah, that started out the rampage. So all the kids, they don't get very many sweets, so we were handing out candy, and as you can expect from kids that barely eat, they were very excited to have something in their belly, so they were attacking, just piling up, pushing, shoving, and so that kind of freaked everybody out. So I got up onto the van, started throwing candy because I was told to, and seriously, I was, and so we got a whole bunch of mixed directions. Kids started trampling each other. Yeah, that was not fun.
No one got hurt though.
No, not seriously injured. A couple of tears, but yeah, nobody died or got hurt.
That's good.
So that was positive. But so after we got that whole situation figured out, we went into all the classes and gave out candy the right way, just one by one, when everybody was organized and not trying to kill each other. So that was cool. Then we went through the IDP, and this is bothering. Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah. Then we went through the IDP and ended up at Joseph's medical hut. Would that be his house?
It was his hut, yeah.
Yeah.
It was
So
his house.
I guess it's where he lived, and it was also the medical center.
Also, where the poultry project was.
Yeah, and the poultry project was there too. And we got to hear a really cool story about Joseph. Ben, you want to fill us in on that?
Yeah, I kind of covered part of the story, but he was telling the story of the way that how they ended up there and what had been going on since. He gave a really in-depth story about the whole thing, and like I said, they started off about 400 miles from where they were, and they had to make their way there, and there was a lot of hardship along the way. There were about 235 families or people. Families?
I think it was families.
All right, 235 families, which was apparently the biggest refugee group that made it through safely, because there was some brutal stuff going on. The one, I don't know, a lot of it I wouldn't share, but the one big highlight is he talked about how they all like huddled up in a church one night a lot of people went into a church. So they burnt down the church, and as that was happening, parents were tossing children out the windows so that they could survive, and then the people who were burning the church tossed them back in.
Yeah.
So that was
awful.
That was kind of the low light of that. But the really, really cool thing about the whole story was how he still believed in a God when it was quite apparent that almost no one would fault him for at least wondering. Didn't seem like he may have wavered, but it didn't seem like he ever did in the story. He always believed that there was a greater purpose to it, and they found that because now they're a buffer between the town that they're staying at and the Maasai warriors who would steal their cattle and like kill people. And they're doing a lot of trade. We talked about the poultry project where they raise chickens and they're getting them out to people and they're selling it or eating it depending on the situation.
Yep, learning to be self-sustainable, which is very good.
Because the government has stopped helping them. And
they've said there are no more IDP camps. So
technically, yeah, even though that's not
and
reality.
that is 100% false.
Because there's still people just living in tents. They at the IDP camp that Joseph stays at, they have actual houses, which is rare, to say the least, because there are a bunch of people just living out in tents in the wilderness.
Yep. Yeah, the one story that I caught that was kind of stuck out to me was that, you know, on Sundays before this whole incident happened, they would go to church and they would enjoy it. But when this whole incident happened in 2007, 2008, like your preacher would be coming to kill you with a machete. And I guess that's kind of disheartening. Kind of wonder how committed or what you really commit to. Because, you know, the whole Christians with nonviolence thing. But, I don't know, that was kind of hard to hear and kind of hard to listen to. And that was something that drove away a lot of people from the church, from God. And that was, I can't blame them. I can't say I blame them at all.
Yeah.
But that was kind of disheartening. Kind of sad. But, yeah, it was cool to see how Joseph kept his faith through all of it. And it was cool to see, even with the mess-ups that people have made, how God has used those incidents to help in the world.
Mm-hmm. There was a bright side today, though. We got to play with those kids that we saw earlier in the day, which was awesome.
It was so much fun.
That was really, really fun. Actually, one of the coordinators here told us it was probably the most fun she had had since she got here. So I take that as a positive. AJ, describe what happened to you, because there are a couple of interesting things that happened to you.
So, yep, we started out playing football, and we were having fun with that.
World football, not American.
Yeah, not American football. But we were playing football. That was fun. But I had a group of kids following me around and chasing me and playing a game of tag almost, or hunt the white guy, the Mzungu.
Tackle Mzungu.
Yeah, that was a fun game. But when I got tired of that, I laid down and pretended to go to sleep. So they picked me up and dragged me across the playground. That was awesome. There were like 20 kids carrying me across the playground. And I'm sure Daniel has footage of that, so that'll be cool. There's a monkey. That is a monkey.
Oh my gosh, that is so... He's coming over here. Let me stop it for just a minute.